So Q1 2021, we're going to see the launch of the DMC at Silsdale in the Digital Manufacturing Centre. Talk us through where that came from. Where was that first idea of launching the DMC and creating that facility?
Well, I guess I'm actually getting quite excited about the Digital Manufacturing Centre project at the moment. It would be no secret that, for some time I've been a little bit worried about it. It's been potentially, especially through COVID and everything else, it's brought its worries, but I'm starting to see it come together and I'm genuinely getting quite excited about it. But, when I set up KW Motorsport back in 2002, as I said, it was a lifestyle business. It was very small overheads and very low risk. And when I set up KW Special Projects, my statement to myself and to all my friends and colleagues at the time was, we're setting up a proper business now. This is a grown-up business. We're going to have facilities and we're going to employ people and we're taking some risks and it's going to cost a bit of money, but it's definitely a grown-up business, and not like KWM. This is a really grown-up business. The stakes have got even higher and the risks are taken. It's a really expensive project. But it's been something that I've wanted to do for some time. And when we set up KWSP in 2012, we identified then that additive was possibly a technology that would be beneficial to us and to others. Yeah. So we invested in some equipment then. KWSP, sort of half of the business of KWSP is around about designing machines and automation. That in every case has been around some kind of additive or digital manufacturing process, whether it's printing batteries or printing ceramics. Or trying to make new methods of depositing materials in a digital manner. So, we've always had that additive digital connection to what we do. And about 3-4 years ago, I said, really to scale this up and to capitalise on it, we need to spin it out as a standalone business. We need to concentrate and focus the business on additive manufacturing. And I think if we had done it back then, as aggressively as we're doing it now, we probably would have failed because it was a bit too early. Yeah. And it may not have been relevant enough to understand. And so, fortunately, we're doing it now. Actually, that comes with its own risks, because maybe it's not so fortunate, and we're yet to find out post-COVID. But in the time it took us to raise the funding to do it, because as I said, it's an expensive project. It meant that we actually, I think, delivering it at a better time. In industry. Now, the reason we needed to go and find funding for it is because I didn't want to just do a small scale capability. I believe that in order to service industry and our supply chain, or our customers with a supply chain that's effective, we need to do it at scale. So we need the right equipment, we need the right technologies, we need the right range of materials, and also we need all of the wraparound services that go with it. We need the upfront engineering, because we're an engineering-led company. It's not a print bureau. It's an engineering-led services business that solves problems. And then at the end of the process, post-processing, you need final machining, heat treatment, post-processing, and then sort of the infrastructure, and then a software system that encompasses the whole thing, and it makes the process seamless and fully digital. So to do that requires millions of pounds. So we had to raise some money to do that. KWSP, fortunately, is in a good position to also support that and launch the project. But we were very lucky, our efforts were rewarded when we approached SEMLEP, our local enterprise partnership, who had some funding available for these sort of projects, infrastructure projects, and we secured some funding to support the project. And that not only helps us with funding, but it also gave us confidence, and it gives industry confidence that what we're doing is the right thing, and it perfectly aligns with industrial strategy.
So in terms of the plan for in the customer base, you talk about it's not a print bureau, it's an engineering-led business. What advantage do you think you're going to be bringing to your customers, I guess?
It's the bit I just mentioned about that whole wraparound. The actual manufacturing bit in the machines, although they're high-tech machines and advanced materials, that's the result of good engineering. And so we intend to service our customers with engineering capability, to help them, educate them, take them through the journey of designing parts that are better to be manufactured in additive, and also advise them whether the parts are even suitable for additive, because as I said, they may not be, and if they're not, don't try and force a square peg into a round hole. Carry on doing what you're doing before. So it's that whole design, engineering, collaborative approach with our customers, bringing them on the journey, making space for them in the facility to come and join us and work with us, not just be an arm's length supplier. Then of course, having the quality systems and the processes in place and the right people in the team to actually make the stuff and deliver the stuff and manage the machines and make sure that our machines are maintained and delivering as they should be. And then at the end of the process, that whole complete part. Someone wants a part that's designed and additive. They don't just want the middle bit of the process; they want the finished part.
Yeah.
So post machining and surface treatments are really, really important considerations with additive.
And in terms of location, I've been fortunate enough to go and visit the site and see it taking shape. It's on a superb business park right by Silverstone, stunning views. What made you choose Silverstone, and how important do you think it is for you to be there?
Well, as you probably identified, I wear several hats. And one of those hats is I sit on the board of the Silverstone Technology Cluster, and I have done since it was founded, I think 3 years ago now. And the reason that we founded the Silverstone Technology Cluster, which is a membership organisation that represents high-performance engineering businesses in and around this area, this geography, is that when MEPC took over the land that they're now developing over at Silverstone Park, they identified that there was a strong cluster of high-performance engineering businesses, whether they be design or manufacturing. And of course, the speculation was that had all come from motorsport, being in Motorsport Valley. And it is true. And so they commissioned a report and discovered that indeed there is a cluster of about 4,000 businesses, all collaborative, all working in similar technology spaces, but across sector. But it actually goes back further to aerospace, and when Silverstone was an airfield, and where we're sitting now at Bicester was an airfield. So it's a bit further back than just motorsport. But there is a very strong cluster. So we built this Silverstone Technology Cluster membership organisation to represent them. So with that hat on, I have to say that Silverstone Park is the epicentre of that, and it's a natural location for us. Just geographically, it's a natural location for us anyway. But then seeing what MEPC are doing up at Silverstone, really, it's a fantastic facility. Yeah. They're building some very nice looking industrial units, but more importantly, they're building an engineering community or a technology community at Silverstone. And we as the Silverstone Technology Cluster and we as tenants at Silverstone Park want to try and get away from Silverstone only being famous for being an F1 circuit. Yeah. We want it to be famous for electric vehicles, for battery technology, for innovation, for science and engineering sort of advancement, really. Yeah. So we're trying to encourage a lot of other business, and that's why we've put the DMC right there. Is A, it will service a decent customer base. Yeah. B, we have a good supply chain around us, and C, it's putting a flag in the ground saying, right, if you want to be a technology business, come to this geography. It's in the right location.
I think you're well placed with what KWSP have done to almost showcase people collaborating together, whether it's different industries, and I think that's really important for manufacturing, engineering, technology going forward. For you then, over the next 5-10 years, what's your hopes for the DMC, and what do you hope that becomes?
Well, clearly I hope it's going to be successful. I hope it makes some money, because we all need a return on our investment. It is a bit risky at the moment. We've taken quite a bold step, I think, because during the whole lockdown period and COVID, two of our big potential markets that we identified as already using additive in some form and potentially big growth areas were aerospace and automotive, and they've been quite hard hit with the current environment. So. But we actually believe that these kind of new technologies and those that are prepared to invest in the advancements of those technologies, it will be part of the recovery, and an important part of the recovery, and certainly made in Britain, and reshoring manufacturing and particularly in the advanced manufacturing sectors. So we think that's going to be important. I'd like to see the DMC grow. I'd like to see it double in size every 2 years and take more units up at Silverstone and expand into other technologies. But certainly, my horizon, what I'm keeping an eye on is what the new technologies are, how we can integrate those into the DMC, how we can make them accessible to our customers, how we can bring the supply chain along with us so that we're not just impacting our business but creating jobs in other businesses too, by creating that prosperity in the area. So I just want to see it keep growing and then hand it over to whoever's going to run it next and see the success they have too.
Do you think there's an opportunity now, and maybe a bit of a perfect time, where as these industries like automotive and aerospace recover, and hopefully they do and they grow again, that what the DMC offers potentially gives them a quicker, cheaper, more maybe sustainable route back to market.
Absolutely. I mean, I guess we're hoping that, but we're also trying to influence that.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's the thing we've got to remember in life and in business, is that you can't just sit there and wait for it to happen. You've got to be part of making those changes and influencing what will happen next. Certainly, I think we're very fortunate that additive and digital technologies are very well placed for whatever the new world looks like in the new future. You know, we no longer want to make large stocks of parts that may never get used and keep them in a warehouse and use energy that we don't need to use. We want to be efficient and agile across the board, whether it's the amount of energy or the amount of materials we use or the amount of stock that we keep. And additive plays to that. You know, you make parts on demand, you only use the materials you need to make those parts. But that's digital manufacturing in general, and I think I want to get the message across to people that we're not building just a 3D printing centre or an additive manufacturing centre. It is digital, and what's important about that is it's software-driven manufacturing and using digital technologies to make it more productive. You know, productivity is very, very important for the UK, so that's our focus.